Hi there guys, how's it going? So today we're going to be talking about the brand new medal that was just added into the game, the Roxas and Xion Prime medal. So it's a reverse speed medal. You can see there it sort of joins the list of a particular type of Prime medal that's been into the game so far. Medals that are very particularly focused on either upright or reverse, and of one attribute being either magic, power, or speed, obviously. So we've got nearly a complete set at this point. I'm assuming potentially they'll finish the set off with a reverse power medal. Who knows if that's going to be a Prime as well. I mean, the Axel Plus is coming out in a few days. Could sort of fill that niche, but typically the Organization 13 medals are standout, different ones, and the medals being released around it, so who knows. Anyway, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about Roxas and Xion Prime. So let's go over its stats really quickly. So just a refresher, it is exactly like Illustrated Roxas Prime, only of the speed attributes. So quickly, 7 tiers of speed-based strength. As a 6-star version, I guess. The 6-star version, yeah, 7 tiers of speed-based strength, and to the enemies gets rid of 7 tiers of speed-based defense, 7 tiers of reverse-based defense, and 5 tiers of general defense. To yourself, it gives you 60% boost to the guilt of all your remaining medals, so long as you haven't already used a medal like, Kairi EX Plus or Shion EX Plus, or I guess Mr. Incredible now, they give a bigger boost, and it deals 4 hits, which is pretty nice. And of course, the 7-star version gives the extra 20% guilt, and the +3 to reverse strength as well. So that's all pretty standard. It gives you +3 to your gauges because it's the same sort of quite expensive medal where it costs 6 to use and gives you 3 gauges back. So again, the sort of skill where it's attack boost max with special attack gauge 1 or special attack gauge 2. So in effect, you're actually gaining SP off a medal like this is a pretty good skill for it. But if you want to use it for raiding, obviously you can't use that kind of skill. The really amazing thing about this particular medal though, and indeed all the ones I just mentioned, is their ability to switch basically between single and all target. It's officially listed as an all target medal because if there are multiple targets on the field, it will hit all of them. But the beautiful thing about this is, months and months ago I talked about, well, not that long ago, I talked about when you evolve a medal up to 7 stars, it gains quite a big boost to its multiplier, and that's dependent on whether it's an all target medal. If it's all target, I think it gets a 5.16 just base application increase to its multiplier, and if it's a single target medal, it's like 7.48 or something like that. But it's a much larger jump for a single target medal, and then that is multiplied by your guild percentage. So for a medal like this 150% guild medal right here, that 7.48 it was gets multiplied quite a lot. The really cool thing about this is you can see down the bottom here. Take a look at the multipliers. So as a 7-star medal, if you're hitting, this is what I'm trying to illustrate here with the all target and the single target here. If you're versing multiple targets, it will hit with a 23.85 multiplier. If you're hitting one target, it will hit with a 35.90 multiplier. That is really respectable damage. I usually say this without any sort of, well, I want to do this in the future, right? I want to basically have a way of showing you what those numbers actually mean. So I've been working on this stuff for a while. It's still not even close to done yet, but let me show you what I've been working on so far. Okay, so you definitely can't see me anymore, and unfortunately, again, just due to the hugeness of this graph, it's pretty difficult to see. But if we take a look here, tier 5s are bang in the middle. In terms of the tier 5 damage, let's grab this one right here. In terms of the tier 5 damage, you can see the medal there. So as a single target medal, you can see it sits right on the top of all tier 5 medals, along with Illustrated Roxas Prime, as the most damage dealing single target or random target medal, which is pretty respectable. And if you take a look to the right hand side, all the medals listed above it, like physically on top of that medal, deal more damage to single targets, based purely off the multiplier and based off the same amount of buffs and debuffs applied to one enemy. And this is being applied with an 80% guilt boost as well. So again, I made this graph assuming you were going to cast either Kairi Plus or Shion Plus before you cast anything else. I think Mr. Incredible has since come along and provided a 90% boost, but we're just going to ignore him for now. So you can see here, only not that many medals actually deal more damage to a single target than this one does right here. So it's actually pretty respectable damage. Let's take a look at that more specifically. So pretend that, all the bottom tier 1s, tier 2s, tier 3s, whatever don't exist. Let's just look at this half of the graph right here. So if I hide that one and pull up just the single targets, this is just a single target graph going from tier 3 up to tier 8, so maybe it might be a little bit easier to see. I've wiped out a lot of the ones on the bottom, like tons of the ones on the bottom, so it might not look as impressive anymore because there's a lot of a way to climb, but that's still hitting at over 40 multiplier, right? The absolute big boys over here, the tier 6s, tier 7s, tier 8s, are so much more difficult to actually attain for a majority of players, given that, you know, only the top 3,000 players have access to a gold ticket. And from those gold tickets, you might only get, you know, a tier 7 or a tier 8 some of the time. It's definitely not guaranteed. It is much more difficult to attain a tier 7 or a tier 8 medal, or at least the fairies, and then be able to evolve them into 7 stars. Even like a lot of the medals on here are high score challenge medals anyway, so or VIP. It's very difficult to attain, honestly, to attain more damage to a single target. And the really cool thing about the primes, obviously, is A, it only costs like 15,000 to get 1 copy at 7 stars, so you've already skipped all the legwork of evolving the thing, but you also have, what, at least 4, not 5 traits to go along with it. If you pick up, like, you know, any of the good ones, like additional strength, negative ground, like especially for PvP, negative ground would be a huge help. You know, extra attack, any of that good stuff, then you're going to start to elevate your overall damage over these guys anyway. So I honestly think the ones that can switch to single target have such utility that it's really fantastic, and they are really decent medals to think about picking up. We'll quickly take a look at where it relates to all targets. It's definitely less impressive relating to all targets. So again, you can see here I've filtered out anything below tier 4, and unfortunately it looks a little like quite less impressive here. Mr. Incredible sits on top of it. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'll zoom it in a bit more. I'll put up all these graphs on my Discord if you guys want to come check them out. Just the way they released tier 6 medals, they released a lot of tier 6s and a lot of tier 7s that were all targets, and they all sort of had similar multipliers. And even the tier 8s, I mean, it's the same sort of rules apply. Like, it's very difficult to get a hold of those. And to be honest, if you were going to evolve your, in order of, like, my personal opinion is, in order of priority of evolution of your tier 6, tier 7, and tier 8 medals, you should always prioritize single and random target, because that will allow you to get further in PvP and allow you to get more resources to evolve more medals. So it just makes sense on a, well, yeah, I mean, you want to do better in PvP. You always want to do better in PvP because huge leaps in power come from PvP. It's such a ridiculous system, and I definitely have some words to say about that, but that's not the time right now. Yeah, so like I said, it isn't heaps impressive, especially if you're the kind of player who's already got a decent amount of maybe the tier 6 fairy medals, because they're not super hard to come by, or the tier 5 fairy medals. As in terms of an all target medal, it's not super impressive, especially, like I said, if you're already evolved from tier 6 to tier 7s, but for a tier 5, it's one of the best we've got, and considering, again, that beautiful potential to switch between all target and single target, I quite like it a lot. In terms of its buffs, like I said before, it's sort of, it needs a lot of help. Obviously, it needs more general defense reduction, it needs the strength, the general strength, but if you're running it on a pure offensive setup, you've already got, there's a lot of buffs behind it, it works quite well. Again, it just needs support, especially in PvP. It needs, let's say these brand new, like, Mrs. Incredible medals are out or whatever, and let's say you get nerfed down -7 strength. Unless you have some way of bolstering that strength back up, you're really going to suffer, because this thing cannot raise its own strength. It can raise the speed-based strength, it can raise the reverse strength, obviously, a little bit, but it needs some general strength support. In terms of random keyblades, like Stroke of Midnight, and obviously anytime we have speed rounds in the PvP, Olympia, this medal can potentially do quite well. I mean, I personally don't have many reverse speed medals, so I really am considering picking this thing up, just because it would provide, like, when I say speed week coming up in PvP, I'm just like, well, I'm out. I can't do anything. So I look at a medal like this, which could help me out not only in PvP, but potentially in, you know, potentially in some questing as well. If you're locked into a certain keyblade, I think, yeah, might be worth a pickup. I'm debating it. I'm debating it quite, you know. I'm not going to pull for it now, obviously. Alright, same again as always. We have so much time to pull on these banners. There's never any need to rush out and pull for it immediately. There's no high score challenge right now. Like, my personal playstyle is, I really want to go for high score challenge medals. They often, I mean, take a look at this graph one more time. Sorry to keep doing this to you. But all the medals in the top damage, look at those two on the top right now. Young Mickey B, Musketeer Pete, high score challenge medals for the single target. Let's hide you. Single target. You've got Sora and Simba and Bob and Jack on the top. Almost all the tier 7s on the top are high score challenge medals, or at least they were in the Japanese version, and then they were switched. Some of them were switched in the English version. High score challenges are definitely what I want to prioritize, so if I don't see a high score challenge, I'm probably not going to pull straight away. That bites me in the ass sometimes, because sometimes a medal that I otherwise might have pulled for doesn't immediately get featured in a high score challenge, and that's not announced till, you know, a week, 2 weeks later or whatever, and it's still a percentage metal for it, and it's like, damn, I could have pulled for that, but it's the risk you take sometimes. I'm really considering pulling for this, but given that Axial Plus is coming out in, what, 4 days from now? Not even? Yeah, 3 or 4 days, and I don't know, I've just done a big spending spree and haven't even bought any of the new avatar boards yet. I'm going to hang on a little bit longer, but I think this is one of the good ones. Again, I'm really a big sucker for the ones that are able to switch between single and all target, just because they're so useful in PvP, but they're really helpful in Coliseum as well. The primes especially that have, you know, potentially five trait slots, excellent stuff. I'm really annoyed though about the banner. The banner just annoys me so much because, like we saw with that Illustrated Roxas Prime banner, they were initially going to continue on giving you a 6-star version of the Prime every single pull, and then, you know, it might potentially get better. Then they go ahead and reverse that decision like an hour later and go, oh no, actually, it's only going to be trait medals, and they've continued that on again. So every single pull you do of this will give you a 6-star trait medal, and I mean, the trade-off is that you get one 7-star medal of a tier 5, which there's some potentially quite good stuff in there. And it's like, yeah, okay, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm a little bit miffed, but at the same time, you do get that medal, and it has got a really nice skill attached to it, which you can then feed onto medals like you really want. I guess like Triple Threat 2 coming out of that banner would be really nice. Anything on the higher end of the attack boost or defense boost max side would be really nice. So I don't know how I feel about that. I'm a little, like, if they just said this is how we're going to start it off, okay, fine, whatever. I guess it was pretty good while it lasted. But the fact that they had that in mind, literally made up all the artwork for it and everything, put it out there, and then took that away, it's like, I don't know, it feels kind of slimy. It feels kind of slimy. Anyway, getting off topic, I just want to talk about the medal. Again, let me know what your thoughts are, guys. If you are going to pull for this, let me know why. Tell me how you're going to use it. Again, I think, for me personally, I'm really strong on the magic side right now, so I'm doing okay in this PvP round right now, but I'm just so weak on the speed side, so you might see me doing a few pulls for it. You might. But definitely not until after Axial Plus, because if Axial Plus fills a similar niche to this, then I mean, it's probably going to be power, but you never know. Axial Plus could be speed. There's definitely been a lot of speed Axial medals in the past, so yeah, it could very well be speed. I don't know. We'll see you soon, guys. Anyway, all the best. I'll catch you later. Bye.